Hi, guys. Today I am joined with Andy Schoonover. He is the creator of CrowdHealth. I'm really excited for my listeners to hear this episode because I was floored and blown away by the information that I was hearing. So I hope everyone is definitely going to feel the same. So CrowdHealth is a technology-focused, community-powered alternative to health insurance. They have created an innovative solution for managing large and unexpected healthcare costs, and they actually reverse the insurance model. I'm not going to say too much more because I want Andy to definitely explain more. So we will get right into it. So welcome, Andy, and thank you for taking the time and coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So let's just dive right in. How did Crowd Health get started?
Yeah, I was running another healthcare company a few years back, and most of us get health insurance through our employer. But I sold that company, so I didn't get my health insurance through there anymore. And so I went on to healthcare.gov, and I thought it was my only option. And I kind of joke it worked until I had to use it. At the time, my wife and I had two little girls. One was one, and for the parents out there, they can probably commiserate with recurring ear infections. And so we went to the ear, nose, and throat doctor, who said she had a hole in her eardrum. So she had to get tubes in her ears. So we went off to the local hospital, got tubes in her ears, and then we got the bill. It was $8,000 for a 15-minute procedure. And I'm like, wow, wouldn't we all love to have that hourly rate, $8,000 for 15 minutes? But I was like, what? This is what health insurance is for. Like, this is the whole point. And then I got a note in the mail from my insurance carrier who said it was medically unnecessary. And so they refused to pay for it. So I had to stroke an $8,000 check to the local hospital. My next call was to the insurance company that said, I quit. I mean, if you're not going to pay my bills, I'm not going to pay your bills. And my family and I have been uninsured now for the last more than 3 years, I think. And over that time, we've realized that we can viably operate outside of kind of the legacy health insurance business. And we built some tools that allow us to do that as a family. We've saved about $10,000 a year by doing that. And we were like, I bet you other people would be interested in something like this too. I bet you we're not the only ones that have run into health insurance issues. And so we started a company a couple of years ago called CrowdHealth, that helps people with big hospital bills. And so that's kind of the origin story. Started with one of my kids, and it was a kind of a nightmare. But what are originally nightmares oftentimes turn into really kind of creative ideas or creative ways to disrupt, I think, an evil in our country, and that is people are getting ripped off by health insurance.
Absolutely. I was going to say that. I think most of the time things do come out of a personal story, and this is no different, which is usually how things get started, or someone wants to invent or create something because they had their own issues with it. But then you really started to unveil and discover all of these other staggering statistics about how many people actually go bankrupt every single year with
Yeah.
unforeseen health issues. Talk a little bit more about that. Like, what have you discovered through your own research with all of this? You obviously started out personal, and then you're like, oh, wait, this is actually not a very good model, the health insurance model.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I like something that you said there, which is like, out of pain, oftentimes really good things can happen. And so whatever your spiritual background, whether it's the universe or God or whatever is creating these things in your life that at the point of time feel very, very painful, actually create incredible opportunities and growth and things like that. And I think, what you talk about in your podcast and crowd health is just one of those. It's one of those growths that came from a kind of a painful experience, and nothing, like you and some of your listeners have gone through, but I'm just appreciative of that, and that's really why I started the company, which is as you do research, you find that it was 200,000 families last year went bankrupt, even though they had health insurance due to a medical event. So you're like, how can that even be? And what I've found in my research is it comes from two different places. One is situations like my own where people have these big bills that health insurance plans just say no to. HealthCare.gov health plans said no to 48 million claims last year. So 48 million times when somebody needed help, these health insurance plans said no. Um, and then the other thing is these deductibles, are so big that people don't have enough money in their bank accounts to pay for them. So the way that health insurance works is, you have to pay the deductible and your monthly, in addition to your monthly premiums, before the health insurance plan will pay a dime. So, I looked on healthcare.gov and just this year, just curious, like what would it be for my family? And it was like $1,400 a month. And I think it was a $14,000 deductible, which means that I'm paying $30,000 in bills before my health insurance plan pays anything. I was like, we've got to be able to fix this. Like, because it's just, it's an evil, like I said, in our society that people have to go bankrupt just to pay for their healthcare bills. So, with CrowdHealth, if you're an individual, it's $175 a month. Not too much more than your cell phone bill if you've got an Apple iPhone, right? And then if you go into the ER, if you break your leg, if you have a pregnancy, if you have cancer, any health event, you just pay the first $500 of that. And then we'll submit the rest to this big and growing community of people who are willing to help you out on some of your health bills. So let's just say actually, I'll give you a real case scenario. A few months ago, we had a woman, 19-year-old in Tennessee, in a boating accident, lost 4 fingers in a boating accident. And so tens of thousands of dollars of bills, as you can probably imagine. They tried to reconnect them, it didn't work. And so she's, without four fingers. So we went out to hundreds of people in our community and said, would you help this 19-year-old with her health bills? So I don't know how many people we asked, like 1,000 people for $50 or something like that. And so we went to the first person and they said, yes. The second person, yes, yes, yes. And that money goes from that member's or from the person's account that we asked to the member who needs it. So ultimately they will have enough money in their account to pay for those medical bills. So it's just this community who gathers around. And we actually had people come back and say, not only will I give $50, can I give $100 or $200 or $300? Because I feel for this 19-year-old in Tennessee and I want to help her. Like, never before in the history of man, I don't think, would you call your health insurance company and say, hey, instead of $1,000 this month, can I pay $1,200 because I'm so passionate about it? But it's like, we're connecting your money with the end user who needs that money. And that's where it's like, we're bringing humanity back to healthcare. You know who you're helping with your money. So we have just story after story like that where people are inspired to give more to people because they want to actually help them. So that's kind of how it works. And I can get more into the mechanics, but that's in essence what it is. It's just a community that has gathered around you and said, hey, Kayla, I want to help. I want to help you with your healthcare if something big happens.
That's awesome. I've heard your company be called the Kickstarter of health insurance and I love that because if you give that money to insurance, you have no idea where it's going. And the fact that they take it and then they say, oh, wait, sorry, I actually can't give it back to you because you gave it to us, but we can't give it back to you to pay for your bills, which is insane. So you did explain a little bit how it works. Maybe go into a little bit more. I think what I've heard is it's $175 a month, and a portion of that goes to a membership, correct? But I like the fact that you said it's always your money. If you ever left CrowdHealth, you get whatever's in your account, bank account, quotes back. So maybe just go a little bit deeper into that because I thought it was like absolutely brilliant.
So if you're a single, it's 175. If you're a family of 4 or more, it's 695. And every month you put that into an account. We start that account for you when you join us. And then we will take out $40 of that. So if you're a single person, 135 stays in that account to be able to use to help other people in the community. So in that one example I just gave, if somebody gets hurt, her fingers are removed from a boat, and I ask you for $50 would come out of your account and go into her account so that she would have enough to pay for those surgeries. And that accumulates over time. So thus far, we've only asked for about 50 of the 135 that's in your account on average. And so if you leave CrowdHealth, that's still your money. So you get to take that money with you when you leave, which is, nothing like health insurance. Once you write your premium and it goes into your health insurance plan, it's gone into the black hole of health insurance, never to be seen again. But you get it back when it's your turn, or when you leave. We hope you never leave, but if you do leave, then you'll get that money back, because it truly is your money. And so, in essence, it's a Kickstarter or a GoFundMe, if you will, for healthcare. But in addition to like just those big bills, we give you unlimited access to primary care. We give you unlimited access to urgent care, virtual urgent care. My little one, same one who had the ear tubes, fell off her bed a couple weeks ago, and so we got on urgent care. We went to our app, we pressed the button, and within 2 minutes, we had a doctor on the other line who said, "Here's what you need to look for. You need to look for, is she feeling dizzy? Does she vomit? Is she doing all these things?" And that's absolutely a part of your membership. So you don't have to pay any more for that. And then, and one other thing which is great is unlimited therapy as well, online virtual therapy. So if you want to talk to a counselor as many times as you want, you can go to your app, press a button, and you can talk to the same counselor every single time, and it's a part of your membership. So we have people come back to us and say, "Man, this is worth my $175 a month in itself. I would pay that for just one therapy session." So, and it's actually the kind of the most well received part of our service. And I know, given your podcast, I think that will resonate with folks out there too. If you just need to talk to somebody, totally free, get on the app, you can talk to somebody. We think that's a great thing. I come from a history of mental illness in my family, and so that's an important part for me. It was like we want to give people help who are struggling. So one other quick thing, I feel like I'm talking a lot, but one other
No.
quick thing is, one thing I hated about health insurance was when I called my health insurance company, I talked to a different person every time. I had to tell them what was going on with me. It felt like I talked to a dozen people before I could figure it out. So with CrowdHealth, you have a team of 2 people internally that you'll talk to at all times. So every time you call in, you'll talk to one of the same 2 people. If you have a big complex situation, I have another group of people that you talk to. But like, if you have a problem, you can text them, you can call them, you can email them. It is your care team internally at CrowdHealth. So if you're like, "Oh my gosh, what do I do in this situation? I just broke my arm," call your care team. Do you have a great orthopedic surgeon in Orlando? Call your care team. They will help you walk through that stuff. And so we really want to be an ally to folks as you walk through your healthcare, as opposed to it often feels like in health insurance an enemy. Like they're trying to figure out any way to like decline your bill. Or we're on the opposite side. It's like we're going to find every single way possible to get you really great healthcare at a really good cost.
Yeah, they definitely try to use every single loophole they can whenever
Yeah.
it's on them to come back and say, "Oh, actually, we found this and this is why we can't help you out." On your end, though, it sounds like you find loopholes in order to work around the health insurance. I know you said in one interview that like 30% of the time doctors are just fighting with health insurance, which
Yeah.
I didn't realize that. I don't know, I thought that they worked very well hand in hand.
Yeah.
It's all money. So I thought that they would be working together. So you kind of go out there and you advocate for your people and even for them, because if you're paying cash, if you aren't having to deal with health insurance, they're actually you're making it much easier on them. So maybe explain that process a little bit on the back end of what you go out
Yeah.
and do with the money, because it sounds like you make it easier for everyone in all cases.
Yeah. Other than our members, our other big fans are docs, because they dislike health insurance almost as much as I do. They spend about 30% of their time dealing with health insurance plans, which is time they could be spending with their patients. And so if you've ever encountered a situation where you go into your doctor and they spend like 7 minutes with you and they have to jump to the next patient, that's why, is because they have to, have so many patients during the day to be able to pay their bills, and because they're spending 30% of their time with health insurance companies. And so, for us, in again, in that situation that I explained, that person, in Tennessee has the dollars in the bank account to pay that doctor in cash on the day of the procedure. So you can literally, put out a debit card and it sucks right out of that account, and that doctor has that money right then. And they don't have to fight with insurance companies and bill them. The other thing too is they have 3 administrative people per doctor to bill health insurance. So you can think about all this administrative overhead that we're taking out. And as a result of that, the doctors are saying, hey, if you can pay me on at the point of care when you come in, I will give you rates that are significantly better than what I'm getting health insurance. And so we're getting, I think, something like 62% better pricing than health insurance plans for bills greater than $1,000. So, why is CrowdHealth so much less expensive? Is because we are taking out all that administrative stuff for the doctors. They're giving us better rates, and we're passing those on to our members. So, our members are getting really, really great rates for healthcare services from some of the best doctors in the country. So that's how our model works.
That's awesome. So how many people have you helped? And I know you cannot say that you can guarantee your bill will be
Hmm.
paid. About what is your success rate though? And how many people do you have with Crown Health, and how
Hmm.
many have you helped?
Yeah, I would just say thousands of bills. We have 3,500 members today, thousands of bills, and every bill that we've submitted to the community for funding has been funded. So we cannot guarantee it. I can't guarantee that I'm gonna make it home today, in the car, but there's a very high probability that I get to have dinner with my family tonight. So we can't guarantee it, but we do a really good job of getting folks to help each other, which is just an incredible thing. It's like 100 years ago, if somebody in your community needed help, the other community members felt the responsibility to help that person through a really hard time. And so that's what we're all about, is like, let's go back to the future here a little bit. Let's use modern day technology to build a community so that if somebody in that community got hurt, other community members will be like, hey, I want to help. And that's really what we've been able to build, which is a cool thing, that it's, again, kind of bringing humanity back to healthcare, which is what we love.
I love that. Humanity back to healthcare. It needs to be brought back to a lot of things, but we'll
Yeah,
start
that's
with
true.
healthcare just for now. We
That's
won't
true.
tackle the world today. But I guess just kind of to wrap this up, I mean, as someone who didn't have health insurance for a long time, I mean,
Mhm.
years, because I was self-employed, I'm a very healthy, I'm in my young 30s now, but at the time, high 20s, very healthy, worked
Mhm.
out every single day. I just didn't feel right, giving away my monthly money to something that I knew I wasn't going to need. And that is taking a risk, because you just never know what could happen. Someone could do something to you that you weren't, prepared for. But at one point, I almost felt like ashamed to say I wasn't insured. I didn't have a health insurance, because that's the American dream, right? You have a job that has benefits. And I was like, but I don't want that job. So why, I just feel like people get jobs just for the benefits.
Yeah.
The older generation, if I tell my grandma about a job, she's like, well, it has benefits. And I'm like, yeah, but like, I really just don't care about that. People always go to that first. Um,
Well, there's
and
a stat out there that 4 million Americans would jump from their corporate jobs and do something entrepreneurial if they didn't have to worry about health insurance.
I
And
believe
so
in,
I'm saying,
yeah.
like, they call it something like the insurance handcuffs, or the benefit handcuffs, or something,
Mm,
like you're handcuffed to your job because of the benefits. And what we're
mm,
saying, and about 20% of our members have actually said no to corporate benefits and have jumped on to Crowd Health because they finally see something that aligns with their values. And so that's what we're trying to do, is we're saying, hey, opt out of your corporate health insurance, join something like us, which we think we're in most cases just better than your corporate benefits that you're getting. And like I said, 20% of our customers have done that, and the other 80% have been uninsured in the past and have said, oh, finally something that I'm can get excited about. So we're trying to break that shame and say,
mm.
hey, I'm uninsured. I said it earlier in the podcast, right? Like, I'm uninsured. I'm delightfully uninsured. woo woo, and I, if you have any contrarians that listen to this podcast, I'm sure you do. But like, hey, I'm uninsured. I'm delightfully uninsured. It gives me tons of freedom. I can go to whatever doctor I want. The doctors love that I'm paying them in cash, and I don't have to worry about these, big bills, because I got a big community of people who are there who have historically said yes to help people who have gotten into trouble one way or another. So we've had 5 or 6 cancer cases, a brain hemorrhage, NICU baby. I was told the other day that like 82 babies have been born or are being born. About half of which went through midwives, which is kind of interesting. So that's kind of our crew, is they like, do that, an alternative form of healthcare. So it's working really well, and we'd love for anybody who's listening, if they're interested in trying something different. I think you'll have a great experience.
Absolutely. Now that I know this exists, that will be in the back of my head. I'm going to tell everyone I know because
Good.
have a lot of entrepreneur friends. Um, yeah, I mean, this is awesome. I honestly, oh yeah, I had no idea really what I was walking into with this. I was like, what is this? I've never heard of this, but I'm really blown away. And you kind of answered my last question. I was just going to ask, like, what do you want those people to know that don't have insurance, about insurance, and maybe not having it? But you just said you're delightfully insured. You're actually way happier not having insurance. And
Yeah.
there is an alternate form that you can feel safe and secure knowing if anything ever came up, you are building this community of people and when you really think about it, the more people you have, when something does come up, the less and less your contributions are going to be,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So I would just say that, you're actually helping other people, with Crowd Health. You're not, filling the coffers of big, massive corporations. You have an ally on your side with healthcare. You get a lot of other benefits too, as a part of being Crowd Health, that I mentioned. And we think for $175 a month, which in reality, we're only charging you 100, because that 75 historically, or more than that, has stayed in your account. You get it back when you leave. We just think it's totally different. And if you have a promo code, I think it's habits, which is $99 a month for the first 3 months. It's like, hey, come and join us for $99 a month, for a few months, see if you like it. If you don't, then you can go. If you do, then stick around with us. So I'd love people to give us a try, because I think you're going to have a great experience.
Absolutely. The therapy part for me, that's game over. I mean, 175 a month is almost half of what I was paying per session, and I went every week. So that would
Yeah.
have definitely saved me a lot of money. And I know my listeners, probably my followers, are that's probably what they're going to be in it for the most, or maybe they're young and, like you said, they have a corporate job that they are tied to because they're getting benefits that they may
Yeah.
never have to use, which is so
Yeah.
silly to me. I haven't been to a doctor in like 4 years, I think. I don't know, something crazy. I'm like, I could have been wasting tens of thousands of dollars. And to me, like, I could have just been putting that in savings. So if anything did come up, maybe I had the money or whatever.
Yeah.
So I
Totally.
don't know. I always risked it. I don't know. I didn't care. I was like, I don't want insurance. I don't want to be paying $400 a month for nothing. So, well, how can people get started with Health today? I know you said my listener is going to get $99 a month for 3 months, which is insane. You guys have to take advantage of that right now. But how can they get started with Crowd Health?
Yeah, go to joincrowdhealth.com. Use the promo code habits. You get 99 for 3 months. And the sign up process is like so painless. It'll take you probably 2 minutes. If you have a family of 4 or 5, it might take you 5 minutes, but it's super painless, very, very easy to do. And so look, if even if you're like thinking about going to therapy or getting counseling, join us for
Mm,
99 bucks. You can go to a therapy session, you get that for free, and you probably just made, $100 because you didn't have to pay for your therapy session. But I think it's a good opportunity for you to try us out and get to know us. And like I said, I think you'll be, delighted in that. And we'd love for you to join us. So joincrowdhealth.com is the website.
awesome. Just one more quick question. How would
Yeah.
they choose the therapist? How does that work when choosing? What if they have a therapist they do want to go to?
Yeah, for ours, we have a list of virtual therapists that they can
Okay,
go to. So if you already
cool.
have an existing therapist, unless they're on that list, which I don't, probably they're not, you would have to choose a different one. But you know, still
Yeah,
might
there's still
be
other
worth it
good
for a
ones
lot of
out
people.
there.
No,
Yeah.
and our the feedback on the therapist on this has been, A plus. So a lot of our own teammates internally at CrowdHealth go to therapists, provided by CrowdHealth, and they said they're wonderful. So go try them out.
Awesome. Well, this has been gold in my ears. This is amazing. Thank you so much for joining me, Andy. And I can't wait to tell everyone about this. And if I ever come across anyone that doesn't have health insurance, they have no more excuse
No
not
more
to get on
excuses.
here. Thank you so much for coming
Thank you.
on.
Appreciate it.
All right, Andy, I will talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.